Hey everybody, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's the third day of August 2022. That means tomorrow's my birthday, and you all got to get me a present. And the only present I want is for you to subscribe to my vlog if you haven't subscribed yet. Help me hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year. It is RPGADay Day 3. I forgot to do it yesterday because I was dealing with cat health issues. Speaking of cats, I am now going to blatantly use this kitten to shill my vlog. Subscribe to my vlog. This kitten wants you to subscribe. Subscribe to YouTube. Steve the kitten wants you to subscribe to YouTube. All right, so question number 2 for RPG a Day was, what game would I use to introduce people to the hobby if, they've never played before? And there's 3 answers because there's 3 questions. So question number 1 is, I want to learn how to play role-playing. And that is a broad subject. So what is a good starter game for somebody who just wants to learn? And, that's got to be games that require very little parts, games with simple mechanics, games that you can just drop down, teach them the rules in 2, 5, 10 minutes, and get things rolling. So if somebody came up to me today and said, I want to learn how to role play, what is it? I'd probably start with, games like Fiasco. Our Marvel Phase Rip is another simple game. Any D6, any easy D6 system. West End Games, D6 Star Wars, the new Star Wars from Fantasy Flight Games, Call of Cthulhu, because if you take away the Lovecraft stuff and just look at the mechanics for Call of Cthulhu, it's a very simple system. It's, percentile. Powered by the Apocalypse, again, if you take away sort of the weird stuff that Powered by the Apocalypse had in the beginning, like the sex rules, and just look at the system, 2d6, 7 or higher, that's a pretty easy system. And of course, Marvel Phase Rip, because it's percentile. It's a very easy system, especially for kids. And it's my favorite role-playing game of all time. So, the Year Zero system from Free League Game, which again is just lots of D6s. So D6 systems I'd probably teach first, Then moving on, I want to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons or fantasy. Well, do you want to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons, or do you just want to learn how to play a fantasy role-playing game? Because today, if I was going to introduce somebody to Dungeons and Dragons, I'd probably use an OSR game. I don't know if I'd use D&D, per se. Because if I just wanted to teach them the mechanics and the idea, there are better systems and easier systems than the go-to. So I might say, oh, you know what? Let me teach you the game that most embraces the legacy of the creator of the hobby. And that, of course, is Castle and Crusades by Troll Lord Games, written by Gary Gygax, the last thing Gygax worked on before he passed away. The thing that Gygax said was his legacy. The thing that Gygax's family says is his legacy. This is Gygax's legacy. Or if they couldn't find that, I'd go with, basic fantasy role-playing by Chris Gonman, because this only costs $5 and it's very simple. And then the third question, of course, is I specifically want to learn how to play 5e. Hashtag I want to specifically want to learn how to play 5e like I saw it on YouTube. Now, obviously, if somebody came to me and said I specifically want to use 5e, I'd go with 5e. And I teach them 5e. And I make very sure they understand that what they see on YouTube is not the actual game. Now, if somebody came to me and said specifically, I want to play the game I saw on YouTube, just like it saw, and I want to play with the same level of experience. I want you to be Matt Mercer. Well, then I'd have to very slowly and very carefully, without trying to be insulting, explain to them that only Matt Mercer can be Matt Mercer, and only the players that you see on YouTube can play that way. I cannot give you that experience. This is the experience I can give you. Hopefully that works for you. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. Let me direct you to maybe somebody who can. So that's the trouble, is 5e has this expectation level that's very hard to beat. I've had to deal with it. Every other 5e DM has had to deal with it constantly. I've recently dealt with it, where players expect the game to be like what they see on YouTube, and it's not. Okay, it can't be. Only Matt Mercer can be Matt Mercer. I cannot give you a Matt Mercer experience. Only Matt Mercer can. I'll be like, you know what? Well, he lives in the valley somewhere. I think Calabasas. There's a couple game stores around there that I know he frequents. Hang out in Calabasas, and maybe you'll run into him, and you can ask him if you can join the game, because I can't give you his experience. This is the experience I'm going to give you. If it doesn't live up to the expectations of what you saw on YouTube, I'm sorry. I can try and help you find somebody who can, or I can teach you to start your own game, and hopefully you can provide a Matt Mercer YouTube level experience, because I can't. So, to repeat, I want to learn how to roleplay. I would not start them with D&D. I'd start them with simple D6 systems or simple percentile systems to slowly teach them how it works. I want to learn D&D or fantasy role-playing. I wouldn't start, somebody came to me today and said, I want to learn fantasy role-playing / D&D. I would not start them with 5e. I'd probably start them with Castles and Crusades or Basic Fantasy, because they're both very simple. They're a lot easier, and they explain the ideas without getting into the weirdness that has sadly been associated with 5e. Or if somebody specifically says, I want to learn 5e, I would teach them 5e. But again, if somebody comes to me, and I've had to deal with it at least 7 times as a DM, and at least, half a dozen times as a player, I want the experience exactly like I see on YouTube, which I unfortunately cannot give you. So that is day 2. What systems would I use to introduce people to role-playing? I will catch up with day 3 in a second, and there we're all catched up. All right, I am the OG GM. If you appreciate this content and want to be part of RPGADay, you can go to their site on YouTube. I've been doing it, I think, for 7-8 years. It's a lot of fun. And if you appreciate this content, let me know. If there's anything you think I can change or improve upon, let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's my birthday, and the best birthday present you can give me is to subscribe. Till then, see ya.